Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time doing another Halloween film review, and this one is on the 1973 film The Exorcist. Now, as you know, The Exorcist is a 1973 supernatural horror film, which of course was based on the 1971 novel, and of course the screenplay written and directed by William Friedkin. And my best thoughts about the film The Exorcist is that it's obviously meant to be the horror take on the Bible story Jesus and Legion. So the premise of the film is meant to follow Chris McNeil and her daughter Regan, who live their sort of day-to-day life, with obviously Chris being this kind of upcoming actress. We kind of see how she kind of wants to make sure Regan has still a sort of normal childhood, and we see how as the film progressed, strange things happen around the house, and Regan ends up being possessed by some sort of demonic entity. And of course, we also do get a glimpse of obviously Father Damien Callis, who's obviously still trying to find himself after what happened to his mum. We kind of see how both him and Chris go through a similar path with similar circumstances. And we see how as soon as Regan gets possessed, she ends up getting unintentionally worse. And this is where not only does Chris need the help of Damien Callis, but Lanska Marin. And I think the best way I can say about the film, it's just there to play on the whole, obviously, Christian faith storylines, and just trying to do a horror take on, obviously, the Bible story, Jesus and Legion, because I think much like Legion, you kind of get the sense when Regan's voice is in different voices, well, demonically possessed, does play similarly to the role of basically Legion. Like, a sort of multiple demons possessing one person, and obviously the point of Damien as well as his other priest friend, Lanska Marin, is meant to be Jesus, obviously trying to kind of take the demon out of Regan. And I think what the film suffers from is not really having a clear narrative horror motivation, because it kind of has to build up to where obviously Chris and also Damien Callis have to be. But I give them credit is going how Regan gets unintentionally worse. You get the sense this isn't the same Regan we're supposed to know. And as soon as she does get demonically possessed, we know right away this is not the same little girl we've seen from the start. I think there is a good idea deep down, like obviously showing just how Damien Callis has to try and find faith again. We kind of see how Chris has to kind of make sense with what happened to her daughter. And I know, obviously, there would be other sequels in the woodwork that kind of try to branch out from the first film, leaving kind of trial and errors to where the film has to be. I think my best thoughts on the 1973 film, The Exorcist, it's okay as a film. It's not doing great, but it knows what it has to be to tell the story of demonic possession, being a horror version of obviously the Bible story Jesus and Legion, but having an alternative take and going a bit more dark and grittier with the Bible concept. So it definitely deserves 2 thumbs in the middles. A boring, dull, and uninterested movie just trying to slowly find itself near the end, where it is trying to pick up to where it needs to be. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.